Okay, so we're here at the Geezer Studio, and what I wanted to do was provide a resource here in which this may help someone who is applying for their USDOT number and under current configurations, their MC number, but you have to start with applying with your USDOT number. And the form that you fill out is a MCS 150 form. Now, you could pay somebody an arm and a leg, but this is something that you could do yourself. The reason why I am showing this is because someone made a comment on a previous Gig Geezer video in which the response was to a video that I put out on cargo van ownership, how to apply for your USDOT MC numbers. And so the commenter says, "So what do you choose? All they've got is straight trucker, truck, and trailer. I see nothing for cargo van. You stopped and said nothing." Well, my initial reply was to say more than what I actually replied in this comment. But my actual comment was because smartass, a sprinter slash cargo van is not defined as a commercial vehicle according to USD if its gross vehicle weight rating is 10,000 pounds or less. There is a box 26B on Form MCS 150 that you mark off for the number of non CMV vehicles. That is actually the correct answer. But what I'm going to do is take it a step further and show you how to complete the form so that you don't have to pay somebody or become frustrated. Now, if you miss still filling it out the correct way after what I show you, then it's on you. But let's see here. What we're going to do. I need to pull that up. Um, all right. So what I'm going to do now is go through the form MCS 150 form. Literally fill it out as if you're applying for your USDOT number. So it asks for reason for filing. It says new application. That's what you're going to mark. But I'm also going to throw this in here. So the FMCSA USDOT will actually send you a notification that you need to update any changes with your business operation. And earlier this year, I actually had to do that in terms of even though it was my office going from the third floor to the second floor, I had to fill this out. And then there's an accompanying form that I will show you in which you denote a change of address information. But for the sake of this, again, we're going to do new application. Legal business name. Let's call it I Move It LLC. Doing business name as, if different from legal business name, you don't have to mark that unless it is something else. Principal place of business, the address is going to be, let's just say 15 Towing Court and city. All right, well, we'll just say Columbia, South Carolina. That's where I'm at. I'm in South Carolina, 29201. That is downtown Columbia. You may have a different mailing address. So let's presume that you have a different mailing address. Um, um, Mailing address would be like a P.O. box. And that is, by the way, tax deductible. P.O. Box 1001, let's say Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. And then contact numbers. All right, so that's space 1, 2, spaces 3 through 7, spaces 8 through 12, spaces 13 through 15, contact number 803 in this case, 333-0011. Principal contact cellular number, let's do 803-888-1111. Principal fax number 803 555 2222. These are all fictitious numbers, at least based. I mean, they're just fictitious numbers. What the fuck? Okay. So then your USDOT number, if you're filing for one, you don't have one. If you don't have an MC number, you don't have one. But let's say if you were to change your address like I did, then you'd put your USDOT number. Or if you're doing the update for the sake of for them just understanding that there's no that there's really no changes in information. I hope I'm talking clear enough. Let me go back over this again. If, for example, you had to do biennial update, you still have to fill out a form MCS-150. If there are any changes, like an address, like for me going from third floor to second floor, changing the suite number, you'd have to fill this out. So anyway, but if you're filling out for the first time, you don't put anything in there other than maybe your tax ID number. Hopefully you have one for iMove It LLC. And so that would be, for example, 88 0001. Let's see. Should be 6 numbers: 88002123. 2 numbers, then a dash, then it should be 7 numbers. So it's like 9 numbers, like with a social security number. So let's go with 8800002231. All right, then email address. Let's say info at iMoveIt.com. All right. Carrier mileage previous month, since you're not doing anything, it should be 0. Company operations, check all that apply. You want to do for an interstate carrier. Unless the others are for hazmat. If you have hazmat certification, then you'd mark that in there. Then operation classifications. For most of us, if you operate a sprinter / cargo van and or a box truck, for most of us, it's going to be authorized for hire. There's exempt for hire, private property, private motor. There's all these other classifications. Cargo classification, you want to just put in there general freight. Hazardous material, that pertains to if you have a hazmat certification. Now, here's where the issue was with that viewer. He said there's only for straight trucks, tractors, trailers, straight trucks and trailers. Okay. If you have a box truck, this is where you would mark in. So like in my case, I do have a box truck. So I'm going to mark in 1, no tractor trailers, no trailers. You put zeros across for everything else that applies. Term leased. If you're not leasing, you don't put anything in there. You just mark 0, 0, 0. You got to fill in all the blanks in this section. That's the main thing. Trip leased, more than likely no. You can put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, here's where box number 26B comes into play. Number of non-commercial motor vehicles, non-CMV, that will be operated in the United States. If you just have one sprinter van, sprinter / cargo van, you put in 1, like I do. That is your answer. Then driver information within a 100-mile radius. If you're not, all right, within a 100-mile radius, that's considered regional. So if it's just you in your operation, you operate within interstate, which is across state lines, you're going to put 1. If you're going across state lines, put 1. If not, 0. I'm going to put 1. Interstate operating within the state, you're going to put 1 for yourself. CDL drivers, if you don't have one, if you don't have a commercial driver's license, you put 0. If you operate beyond 100 miles, that may be the case. 1. And if your state is big enough where you operate beyond 100 miles, you may put 1 there. So it's going to count full drivers. That's just the way it does. Don't try to figure it out. That's just the way FMCSA USDOT figures it out. Is your DOT number registration currently revoked by the FMCSA? If you're in good standing, it would be no. Yes, then you'd have to put in your your DOT number. Passenger compliance certification, that does not apply to you. And so therefore you go down to the names of the sole proprietors, offices, and titles. So if it's just you, then it's going to be I'm just going to put my name Smith. And then you're going to put in there owner, and that usually is enough. And then you can put here, you certified things in space 31, my name Smith. You can print this out or use the signature thing in here. I printed it out and signed it since I have a scanner, scanned it back in and sent a PDF. And then you're going to put your name there, owner, and date being May 4th, 2025. That is how you fill out the form FMCSA 150, and that should not get you in any trouble. Um, hopefully, I spent about 10 minutes. I've spent about 10 minutes on this to make sure that you understand how to fill out this. This is the beginning of everything. Now, if you had to change an address or a phone number, you'd have to fill out a form MSCSA 5889. This is one where you may have to pay, depending on what it is. So, what I did was when I changed suite numbers, I had to put in today's date, and then I put in my fax number, my email address, my MC number, no, the business name here, MC number, DOT number. MX number is when you do business in Mexico. The RFC number is what refers to with your Mexico number. FF number is freight forwarder. So your current address as what is shown in the system, the city, address, blah, blah, blah. Phone number, cell number. Affiliation with licensed entities, probably put no there. Yeah, you put 0 there. So change of address, there's no charge to do this. You put in your new address. In my case, same address, but different suite number. Put in that information, blah, 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 blah. If it's a business name change, then you would have to change business name and fill out all the corresponding information. And there's typically a charge to go with it, a processing charge. So if you have to make changes like that, a form MCSA 5889. Hopefully that helped you out. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm in Wood Lane. As always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.